All right. Looks like we're live. We'd like to welcome on now Eric STRACK, Minnesota sports fan. He's on Twitter. I think you guys are on Instagram. You're on the web too, right?
Yeah, we're minnesotasportsfan.com and then at real MN Sports Fan on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, though. Our Instagram's taken a big hit because I'm at home with my two kids now. It's a lot harder to do
Oh, yeah.
graphics and write blogs and keep up with everything with those two running around.
But now let's get into it, Eric. So, tell us a little bit about Minnesota Sports Fan, how you created it, what you guys are all about.
Yeah, I created it February of 2017 and just started out with Twitter and Facebook and a .com and what are we now? Over 3 years later, and now we get thousands, if not 10,000s of clicks per day, depending on the day, and we do things just a little bit different. Unfiltered. You'll find a few F words laced in here and there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were looking for an editor the other day, and one of the requirements is you have to be comfortable with the word "fuck." So
yes,
for any of you guys looking for jobs out there that are familiar with the word, go to Minnesota Sports Fan and.
Well, we're starting to get bigger. We have advertisers now. I feel pretty big time. So yeah, I need an editor, especially with the two kids running around. It's difficult to really kick out that much content when I had somebody submit a draft blog the other day and just asked me how long it takes to edit. And I said that they'd be surprised. Sometimes, depending on who the writer is, it might take 15, 30 minutes if you can read right through it and then just throw a feature pick on there and throw it up. And sometimes you have either writers or blogs that might take 2 hours depending, especially links. Links are the worst.
Could you imagine being an editor for Russo?
I know.
Dude, his Kaprasov article was like, I read for like half an hour and I was like, oh, I'm a quarter of the way in. And I'm like, I feel really stupid right now.
I know all of those. The Athletic, I'll tell you what, I know you guys have John Krasinski coming on. I love his work. But man, yeah, they love going over there because they can write books now. It's not the paper anymore.
Yeah, they're not constrained to any sort of like rules or anything.
Exactly.
Like that.
But I feel bad for the editors sometimes because you see those quick little blurbs and stuff in the newspaper. You can probably read right through those, and you've got obviously professional writers, so it probably goes pretty quick. And then you see the Athletic ones, and they're like, you're reading and scrolling, and no matter how good of a writer you are, when you're writing something that long, you're bound to have your fair share of mistakes laced in there. So it's it gets aggressive. We don't quite do them that long on Minnesota Sports Fan. I actually made a writer the other day cut it down because I'm just like, I can't edit all of this. I'm sorry.
But
yeah. No, we're pretty involved in the more satirical, inappropriate blogs too. I don't know. I released a blog a couple weeks ago that said Amazon is going to start pissing in your yard because there was a video of a ring system that caught an Amazon driver peeing in someone's yard. So that's kind of we're kind of in the same style of journalism. Like there's professionalism on the far left, and we're on like the exact opposite side. Like, I mean, we could probably use an editor too. I think there's probably 3 or 4 typos in every paragraph of the blog that I write. Man.
Yeah, like I went to school for journalism, and I'll finish an article. I'm like, this is good, and then I'll go back and read something, and I'm like, shoot, there's like a typo there. There's a misspelling there. I'm like, damn, how did I not see that?
You spell like a very prominent professional athlete's name wrong, and you're like, oh, cool. So this blog was worthless. Like I released that 12 hours ago. Like I can't fix it now.
Yeah, I know. It's like it just looks so
spelled
weird.
LeBron LABRON instead of LE.
It's part of the bit at this point.
Yeah,
you just got to go with it. And hopefully someone calls you out for
It's like a Rickyism from Trailer Park.
Exactly. LeBron.
A Rickyism. I like that a lot. Yeah. Hey, Barstool's gotten rich off of stuff like that.
Yeah.
We can do it too, right?
Yeah. Right.
Why not?
Somebody already paved the path, so we might as well just follow in their
That's what
footsteps.
I should ask John Krasinski. I should ask him to read one of my blogs and see how many times he cringes. See what the over-under is on that. Like, oh, dude, really? Just okay.
You want to go with that? No, this is just for a satirical site. Yeah, but even for a site like that, like, you go with that?
This
is my personal opinion.
See, our thing is sometimes I write those blogs and it's like I would write way more of those if people would click on them more often. But it's like we get a lot of our clicks from our Facebook page. That's where we have most of our followers, and people like to read things off of Facebook way more than other social medias.
Yeah, at least the links are there. That's the nice thing with Twitter
That's a big part of it too. And so with our Facebook group, like, I don't know, it's I don't remember where I was going with that, to be honest with you.
All right.
No,
We were just talking about.
Well, I was going to ask you, Eric, what was like the craziest article you guys wrote, maybe controversial or anything like that maybe got a lot of hate or flack?
I wouldn't say it got a lot of hate, but it got, people loved it at the time. Probably the most controversial one when Jimmy Butler blew up the Timberwolves practice, and kind of pretty much left town at that point, or he was on his way out of town. Yeah. My blog that I wrote was "Dear Jimmy Butler, fuck you."
Oh yeah, no, that's a good title though.
No, it's perfect.
Yep.
And
it went back too. It went back into the Stephon Marbury days and like how everything got torn down through that, and like here we are. We put all of our hope in you, which we don't have very much as Timberwolves fans. You came in that opening press conference and blew us away and said you're going to take the young guys under your wing, and then a year later, after they just weren't what you expected them to be, you blew up the whole thing, and now not just screwed up that season, but set the franchise back 5 to 10 years by doing what you did, and then just shit on everybody and walked out. So
and this,
that was probably one of the better ones.
This is why the people need journalists like us, Eric, is because everyone's thinking it, but you had the balls to say it.
Yeah.
You're never going to see
get fired for it.
You're never going to see someone from The Athletic release a post like that. They're not. I mean, they probably wanted to, but they're not allowed to by any means.
That's the thing, is that's kind of what we do at Minnesota Sports Fan, is like someday, like, we're credentialed for Gopher football, and one day we hope to be credentialed for all the major sports in town. But we were fans before we wrote and became quote unquote journalists. I mean, I have a criminal justice degree and took one analytical writing class in college. And it just so happens that this is something I'm good at. So like that's kind of what we're about, is we do things different. Like when you come to minnesotasportsfan.com, you're going to see things done different. And even when we're covering those teams with credentials, it'll still be a different type of coverage, and it'll always be focused on the team. Like, how does this help us? How does this help us get to a championship?
Exactly. I feel like it's what everyone wants.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like too many outlets, and not necessarily our reporters in town, but even you see it nationally, where they get connected to a certain player, and now all of a sudden there's just a lot of positive coverage around that player or around that team or around that coach, depending on personal relationships. Well, first and foremost, I know forever going forward, my personal relationship, the biggest one, will be with the team. Because I've dreamt of that day that we're watching parades, covering parades now, watching confetti fall on our favorite team. And until I see that, I'm going to want that more than I'm going to want a friendship with Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
So that's why. Well, that's kind of how our coverage is a little bit different.
And especially with being local, I mean, the players are going to come in and out, but the teams will stay the same. So building the relationship with the teams is better for the long run, because if Cat gets traded, knock on wood.
Well, and it's not even necessarily about the teams either, right? It's about the teams, but it's more about the fans.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you, like, I love the Timberwolves, but if Glenn Taylor has read any of my blogs, which he probably hasn't, but if he ever does, he's not going to like me. Like, I'm not here to get into it with, or like get in good favor with Glenn Taylor because he owns the Timberwolves. Like, I'm just here to write about what I think is going to make the Timberwolves the best team to have their chance to win a championship. That's why you'll see me. It looks like I am all over PJ Fleck, that I would just do anything for him. But in reality, the coverage is like that because he's doing nothing wrong.
Exactly.
He's leading the Gopher football program to places it's never been before.
The fans like PJ, and if they like PJ, then you're going to write about PJ. That's kind of the way it works.
Well, I'm gonna write about PJ. But if I, for whatever reason, and I've been on the PJ bandwagon since it rode into town, but if for whatever reason I disagreed with most of the fan base and thought that PJ Fleck wasn't right for the state of Minnesota, then that would be my coverage. But that's not what I think. But that's what I think. Like, I get Timberwolves fans who are pissed off at me all the time. People hate it when you go after Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns, especially the younger generation. But look, if I feel like they are not getting asked the right questions, or they're holding teams down, or they're not doing the right thing, then that's why I came here, was to write about why I'm pissed off at them.
Yeah, I was going to mention, like, a lot of media outlets, nationally and locally, especially here in Minnesota, they like sugarcoat things and try to buddy up with some of these teams. And, like your blog and amateur blogs out there, just kind of, writing the real news to the people. I mean, honestly, like writing what's actually going on and what's happening and what they need to do to win a championship. And most fans want to actually hear that. You'll get a few haters, obviously, but that's what they want to hear.
Well, and I mean, no one wants to admit it that we're so far away from anything like that ever happening. Like it feels like a dream. Fans. It's not like it's been even within grasp at any relative time.
Well, and that's another thing too, is like when you look at the Vikings, I remember when Case Keenum was here, I was going against the grain when he was winning all of those games and saying that he just, as good as he was playing, he wasn't good enough to bring us to a championship. And like that was one of those situations where I was all for us winning games, and you get Vikings fans who are like, well, yeah, but even if he can get us to the NFC to the conference championship, that's further than we usually ever go. And it's like, yeah, but we need to stop thinking like that.
Yeah.
Like we've been to the we've been to the conference championship before. We've been there. We've done that. Where has that gotten us? Like we need to start thinking Super Bowl. And then before like PJ Fleck got here, if you ever mentioned Rose Bowl or national championship with the Gophers in the same sentence, people are laughing at you. But like PJ says, we need to start changing our mindset around that. Like, yes, the culture, it almost like
do it. I know
we breed it.
But yeah.
As fans, we breed that type. Like we breed losing sometimes. If you just think it's going to happen, then you almost breed it to happen. Like you think it into existence. We have to change that a little bit too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Kind of an ongoing bit that started, I guess, in the last with Jesse Pierce. Kind of a serious question for you. That scented candle over your left shoulder. What's this? What's the scent there?
What's the deal?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
This is all an Aldi special because I'm all about saving money.
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
This one is
good stuff. What's wrong?
Mango mimosa.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
That would sound like a great drink to have right about now.
Yeah.
A mango.
It was actually, they had like 3 different kinds in the box, and this was like the only kind that I could stand. And I got kids with poopy diapers, and
it's all about the scents. Yeah, ever since quarantine started, I've been a scented candle guy. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Well, you're inside. Yeah, all the
well,
time. I mean,
why not, right?
Yeah.
You're stinky, whatever. Eric, going off a little bit. I know we were talking a little off air about like your background, your banner back there, and you're mentioning you got it in Chicago when you're there for Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah, so we got it from one of the sponsors that we've worked with regularly is Pro Image Sports in the Mall of America.
Oh, cool.
And they have an office right next to Total Sports, who you guys are working with.
Yeah.
So they've done a couple things for us, and we didn't know. It's funny because we don't know what we're doing, right? So like. When I went to Big Ten Media Day, I had no idea what it was going to be like. I was thinking, maybe we'd have like a table, and maybe they would, like, the players were going to come to us. And, I thought maybe everybody would have like a banner like this. And so the sponsor offered to pay for it. And so we took them up on it. And then, I talked to the Paul Rovnak, who does the Gopher football stuff for media. And he goes, yeah, it's not really like that. You're going from place to place. You're not going to have room for anything like that. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I have a nice big banner now. And I put it right up here, right in my living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Here's my living room.
Nice.
Hey, your wife can't be too happy about that.
Yeah, so my wife really enjoys it being there.
Yeah,
but
it's better than a painting of fruit, though, right?
Hey, there you go. And it's she's made worse sacrifices for this website, so it is what it is.
Hey, it's all about sacrifices.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, we know all about that. And then so you're a credentialed Gopher, I guess. What's the process of kind of doing that, or how do you get involved as a media brand? Like, I guess at what point did you become like a credible source? Because obviously they don't just let any guy who makes a WordPress blog.
Hey,
come
on, I want to write
start right.
Talk to PJ.
Yeah. Talking to coaches.
It's all about having. I mean, it's all about having a following. I mean, at this point, at that point, when he allowed us in, like we were getting views. It was nothing like what we're getting right now, but we got enough action on our website where I was able to take that to the Gophers and say, here's what we're getting for clicks, here's what we're getting for views. Cool. Tell them what we're about. We met for coffee, and he gave us a yes. I mean, we've applied to a couple others and not really gotten no's, just kind of gotten wait until you get bigger. But I mean, we're to the point now where we have paid advertisements. This is what I do full time.
Cool.
Nice.
That's
so
awesome.
And now
so we're
you're
getting there now.
You're able to pay an editor, and that's a huge step in any startup.
And writers. I mean, I can pay writers too. It's just at this point, until I get an editor, I don't have the time to have 5 writers submitting blogs to me, one every day, and I don't have time to edit all those. And I have a couple writers right now where they'll submit something to me, and with my kids home and everything going on, I don't get to it until, who knows when. Right. And I feel bad for doing that. So until I go on a hiring spree for writers, I got to get an editor that'll be able to take on that load. And I mean, it's nothing like, I'm not paying full-time salaries or anything like that, but I'm paying hopefully enough to get somebody to want to do something on the side.
We're not paying anything yet. I think Bubba bought 6 pizzas for us, and you know that's
It takes. I mean, I don't know how long you guys have been doing this, but this stuff like this, I mean, this helps. I mean, obviously it's for a great cause, but it gets you in contact with so many people, and that's a big part of it. I mean, getting your name out there, getting people to see your content is a big part of it. And I mean, like I said, seeing content, and then from all different platforms, we get a lot of views from Facebook. We have a good Twitter following and Instagram following, but like, you go look at our YouTube, and that's a whole nother monster to build, So it's like
each piece
getting yourself
it's a whole nother
platforms.
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter, like even if you have Twitter down, there's a 90% chance everything else might just be a dumpster fire.
And then they come up with something like TikTok, and it's like, come on, I'm still trying to get.
I
just
figured out how to get 1,000 followers on Twitter. What the hell is TikTok?
I don't even want to get involved in TikTok.
And I have to dance.
I was gonna say, Eric, can you dance? Is that?
Can we dance?
I can't dance, but I almost think they like that better.
There's there's a 15-year-old girl who has 59 million followers on TikTok. I mean, it's amazing. She's 15 and she'll never have to work a real job. And here we are grinding for some page views, and you kind of like take a look and you're like, is this where the world is headed?
Some girl's doing like a 10-second dance video.
Yeah, it's like moving her hands, and it's like, okay, well, I
can do that.
I put 2 hours into a blog for 29 page views, and here I am.
I put my life into that.
This is the world we live in now.
Yeah, I know.
And the quarantine doesn't help.
Yep.
I know. The quarantine doesn't help with advertisers either. That just like everywhere else, everybody takes a hit. Like, these advertisers aren't gonna advertise for products that people can't buy right now, or like the Marriott isn't gonna advertise for their hotel stays when nobody can stay at a Marriott. So it's like everybody's feeling it a little bit. And I mean, stuff like anything that anybody can do, like what you guys are doing, it all helps.
Yeah, and going back to when you said we don't know what we're doing, we're at that stage too. We started setting up all this stuff. You should see my living room. It's a completely MacGyvered, I mean, there's cords all over the place. There's tape on the TV. It's like it's amazing. Everything hasn't just fallen apart this far into the stream.
It looks good on my end, though.
That's all that matters.
I know that better than anybody.
And Jesse Pierce was talking for 5 minutes without audio, and everyone's looking at me and they're like, "You got this figured out, right?" And I'm like, "No, I don't.
Well,
I don't know what to do."
Because I would talk, I'd hear my voice.
It's been putting out fires, and we're 3 hours.
I'd hear my voice. I'd hear my voice in my headset as something I said 30 seconds prior, and then Jesse would be like, "Yeah, I can hear you." I'm like, "That's what I said."
The ghost of Christmas Past is just telling you what you just said.
I'm like, oh no, I'm just like freaking out. This is our first live guest, but no, we got to figure it out now. We're
It seems everything seems to be working to me pretty well right now. So I think you guys got it figured out pretty nicely. I mean, I'm impressed. So there you go.
Thanks, man. Well,
we appreciate it.
Before we wrap this up, Eric, our signature ending segment here is a rapid fire. It's the takes. 10,000 takes signature statement. So what we do is we're going to give you a minute on the clock. We're going to give you 10 seconds. They're pretty easy would you rather questions. Nothing too. So a minute up. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
Blind or in an Olive Garden?
It's like you're living in that Olive Garden like for the rest of
Gotta
time,
think
like
about
until
it,
you
man.
die.
Yep.
Wow. This is rapid fire, isn't it?
Yep. Think fast.
Okay.
Take a lifeline.
I'm taking the Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. All right. If you were given an all expenses paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
All expenses paid to Cleveland. Are my kids coming?
Sure. I mean, do you want them to come or
No.
Oh, then no.
Oh, then yeah, I'm in.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Is it hot dish or casserole? The great debate.
Hot dish.
Okay. If a movie was made about you, who would star as you, as the main character?
Oh man. Who's the Malcolm in the Middle kid?
Frankie
He kind of
Muniz.
looks like me.
nice.
Yeah, Frankie
You?
Muniz.
Or he would play
could
you? Okay, I can see it.
possibly.
All right.
It's a great show.
Would you rather have your head the size of a tennis ball or a watermelon?
Wow. Watermelon.
Watermelon?
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis or St. Paul?
Minneapolis, I guess. I'm not from either, so that
Okay.
question. Other people are probably a lot more dedicated to that
Yeah,
question.
he might get
than
some
me.
hate mail. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
brace
Well, we've
yourself.
been
I'll make
really
it.
quick.
It won't be the
pause
first
the
piece, I
rapid fire.
promise.
Yeah, we've been encouraging people to send hate through email. We want to get back to actual hate mail instead of hate DMs. So remember, guys,
Hate
if
mail.
you want to send us hate, 10,000takes@gmail.com.
We could get a PO
Just
box
please,
and get some.
yeah, or hate letters actually.
Yeah.
All right, back in the
Letters, I
rapid
like
fire.
that.
In
Yeah.
self-defense, how many fifth graders could you take on at one time?
Oh man, some fifth graders are pretty big, and if you've seen my bio on Twitter, it says I'm 5'9", 140 pounds with small hands.
Oh yeah.
So man, it depends on the size, but I'm not going over 2, 3
Okay.
maybe.
Wow, okay.
All right, no, at least you're realistic. That's
You're
good.
being- yeah.
Would you rather always wear a shirt that's kind of itchy or shoes that have a small pebble in it that you enough of a pebble that you
Wow.
can feel? Yeah.
That's an aggressive question.
Yeah.
Both of those things sound terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I have sensitive skin, so I'm gonna say the pebble in my shoe.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. What's more realistic, ghosts or aliens?
Aliens. Both are realistic. They both might be the same.
Ooh, that's deep.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I watch.
Are they connected? Yeah.
I am a dedicated Ancient Aliens watcher.
Oh.
So if you guys want to ever binge on alien talk, then
Okay.
I'm your guy.
So
wow.
yeah.
Nice.
Okay. You have one sport to watch for the rest of your life. What is it?
One sport the rest of my life. Football.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eric, we'd really like to thank you for coming on, guys. You can check out Eric and Minnesota Sports Fan. You guys' website, mnsportsfan.com.
Yep, that'll lead you there. But the full URL is minnesotasportsfan.com, just all spelled out. But MN Sports Fan will lead you there too.
Cool, guys. And remember, he's writing everything you're thinking. He has the balls
That's
to
right.
write it. So, he's in kind of the same space as us. And guys, remember to visit www.10000takesmn.com/SodaStream. Hit the donate button. All the proceeds are going to the Groveland Emergency Food Bank. Eric, it was nice meeting you. It was fun talking with you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Great job for this.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, Eric. Thank
See
you
ya.
so much. Peace.